I feel like you have a lot of integrity, and that makes me feel wonderful. That does make me feel respected. You've trained yourself not to look at a woman with lust, not to behave certain ways around women and deal in certain ways around women, and that makes me feel honored. You make me feel that I'm the number one, woman in your life. I feel respected by you for sure. You treat me with kindness. You definitely don't talk down to me. There's certain language that's not even in our household. We don't use, I think that answered the second question first, now that I think about it.
So in marriage, whenever the topic of respect is brought up, it is usually expected of the wife to respect the husband. And that's okay. But I think the opposite is also true. So I want to ask you candidly two questions. One, do you feel that I respect you enough as your husband? And I'm saying enough because there's always room for improvement. But do I respect you enough now? And secondly, how do you think men or husbands can respect their wives better? In what specific ways?
Okay, so, all right. So my answer is not going to be exhaustive, but I'll just give some of my immediate thoughts, right? So I feel like a lot of women feel disrespected in their marriages because their husbands are unfaithful to them. That's a huge disrespect toward a woman, bringing other women into your home, or not necessarily into your physical home, but you get my point. I mean, you're their home anyway. The two shall become one flesh, okay? And you are inviting other women into your body and into your space and into your marriage, that's really disrespectful. So number one is treat your marriage, treat your wife as sacred, treat your marriage as sacred, and have integrity about fidelity in your marriage. And it's more than just don't sleep with other women. It's don't entertain the thought of another woman, okay? I'm not saying be blind. You're not blind. If a beautiful woman walks by and you think she's beautiful, you literally won't even be able to help the thought crossing your mind that, wow, that's a good-looking lady. But that's all. That's the end of the thought. Don't linger on the thought. Don't lust after the woman. Don't fantasize about her. Don't take it to the next place. It's a thought. It's in your head. It's back out of your head. And if you feel tempted to linger, that's when you pray. Ask the Lord to remove the thought. It's ungodly. Okay? Because you have a wife at home and you don't entertain thoughts of other women who are not your wife. And that's honorable to your wife, and that's honorable to those women as well, because you ought not to objectify other women as well. In your dealings with other women, how you treat them, how you behave around them, treat them full of honor, full of respect. And that will also be respecting your wife. Okay, so be honorable by way of fidelity, by way of how you think about and act around other women, and also how you treat your wife. So treat your wife full of all the tenderness that she deserves as the weaker vessel. Treat her with kindness. Give her the security of knowing that she holds the number one place in your life as a lady, or as your wife. That makes her feel respected, There's always going to be a more beautiful woman, a woman who keeps the house better, a woman who does this better or that better. But don't bring that up. I'm not saying if you're displeased about something, or if she could do, improve upon something, that you can't have those kind of conversations. Of course, there's room in the marriage for improvement in every area. And if you think a conversation needs to be had, you have it, but full of respect, not making her feel like she's in competition with anybody else, but rather making her feel very secure that her place in your marriage is sacred. You chose her for a reason, and she will forever remain there. Okay, that kind of security honors your wife. I think that answered the second question first. Now that I think about it, that's kind of like the general answer, but to personalize it, I do feel respected by you, Thomas. I feel like you have a lot of integrity, and that makes me feel wonderful. That does make me feel respected. You've trained yourself not to look at a woman with lust, not to behave certain ways around women and deal in certain ways around women, and that makes me feel honored. You make me feel that I'm the number one, woman in your life. And so I feel respected by you for sure. You treat me with kindness. You definitely don't talk down to me or anything. I mean, those things, there's certain language that's not even in our household. We don't use, curse words. We don't call each other things like stupid and, whatever. Like we don't use certain adjectives about each other, So that just avoids a lot of issues, even just avoiding certain language, And yeah. So I think you speak to me well, and you are faithful and full of integrity. Therefore, I feel respected.